Hurt in a car? Call our sponsor, William Mattar. 844-444-4444. With a focus on motor vehicle accidents, the team at William Mattar has handled thousands of cases like yours. Let them help you get the money you deserve after a motor vehicle accident. Rideshare, truck, motorcycle, car, only call William Mattar. 844-444-4444. All right, I got to start with a question, just after today's events and everything. What do you think the percentage change of people that were content with dealing Konsta Helenius to now he is in the untouchable group for them? What do you think among the Sabres fan base, what the percentage changes?
Just, I'm going to throw this out there. Just from today or before his playoff stint with us?
Ooh. I will go before the playoff stint.
Okay, before.
Yeah, playoff stint. Let's go like February. Heat of the moment with the Robert Thomas rumors. What's the percentage change?
Gotta be like 95%, maybe even 100. I mean, I think even you were okay with trading him for Robert Thomas before his stint. Might be 100.
I think like once the playoffs ended, I was like, I'd give it some pause. I'd really have to think about it, but I'd maybe still say yes. And then he scored like the first goal on Barkov's line. I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm usually pretty level with dealing prospects. I think I'm going to keep this one. This one can stay.
Yeah, I think I was in that group too. Just, I was okay with moving on from him, but after watching this tournament, especially after today, I don't think you can move him. I think you got to take him out of any equation.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think. Honestly, it's not. Maybe it's a little bit ridiculous, but I'm trying to think like, okay, if there was hypothetically a Robert Thomas move with Helenius in it, what else am I putting next to him? Like how much? How close does that get you? And I'm like, I don't even know if I'd want to do a first round pick. And it's really not. It's just not. There's nothing to do with Thomas. My opinion on him has not changed whatsoever. It's just I'm really starting to think, taking a step back, looking at the bigger picture, at just what Helenius has done in his past 2 years. I don't know. Maybe I'm sipping the Kool-Aid, but it's like, man, he might be a star. Like, he just might be. Genuinely. Not even in like a Östlund, Kulich type of way. Like, oh, these guys could get there. I'm just kind of like, Helenius, he might just be the next Sebastian Aho. Like, Sebastian Aho played in the NHL the year after he was drafted. Right? Or was it 16? Or no, I think 16-17 was his first season. So his 2 years removed from his. So this year for Helenius was Aho's first season for the Hurricanes. Aho, I believe, had 45 points for the Hurricanes that season. Would that have been a crazy mark for Helenius to hit over the course of 82 games?
If he played a full season with the right guys, I don't think so. As long as he wasn't like dropped down to the fourth line, I don't think that's a ridiculous number to hit, especially coming off of an AHL stint.
Like if Noah Östlund isn't a part of the conversation, like if you gave him what Östlund was able to do this season, is he getting you 49 points? It was 49 points in 82 games.
I don't know, man. These are a lot of hypotheticals. You're asking a lot of questions.
You're in the. Okay, well, I guess, does he get in the 40s range? Does he get over 40 points? What was Östlund on pace for this season over the course of 82 games? I want to say he was basically on a 40-point pace.
He was right around there, I think, yeah. I think he had 27 and 60 off the top of my head.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And give or take, that was like first part of this, his first little stint, they didn't really have any plans for him to stay. Yeah. 27 points in 60 games. It's a 36-point pace. I don't know. I'm just the kid's just a rock star. He's just so good. And just to get that opportunity, just immediately gets to the tournament. The second he gets there, he's playing with Alexander Barkov. And just scoring in damn near every game. It gets you excited for next year. And for me, I think he's just kind of off my trade list. I'd really have to be floored by, if it was a 1-for-1 swap with Robert Thomas, that's probably a yes. And I'm still just trying to figure out what else would I be comfortable with to move him.
Yeah, Barkov had some high praise for him in post game too. He said he could have went on for 30 minutes talking about what a player he is. But I think I'm with you. I think you got to scratch his name off trade boards now. But who do you? That just makes it more interesting as to who you might have to move on from.
I'm wondering, because now I'm just you chase after something with Mertka and your first this year or your first next year. Are you done after that? If you get a Parayko level piece or an impact piece with just those two pieces, what else do you do after that?
I mean, maybe some housekeeping. Maybe try and find a cap dump for a couple guys.
Probably, but I'm just saying, upgrades wise. Let's say
just upgrades wise.
Let's say they do a Parayko level move. If they traded for Parayko again, I can't imagine it would be the same trade return. You get a year less of him, the whole leak stuff. It would have to be for a much lower price. So if you chased after, I don't know, one name it keeps popping in my head is Jonas Siegenthaler. If you did Mertka and a first for that, what does your offseason look like from there? Do you just do you keep Norris? Do you still maybe look to offload that? Or what do you use to upgrade your roster? Because if Helenius is staying and we don't think Kulich really gets you anything, are you quietly shopping Noah Östlund? If you're fishing for something big, right? If you were hey, I want to make a Parayko level move for the back end, and then I gotta replace Alex Tuch somehow. Is that what you're using?
I'd find it. I mean, I think Helenius is probably over Östlund, but I'd find it hard to believe that Ruff would want Östlund to be involved in any trade talks. So I don't know. Maybe. I mean, this might be. I don't think he is. He definitely doesn't have as much value. But Quinn, I mean, I think he had a pretty good year. He had a really good playoffs. And obviously, it would have to be Quinn plus someone. It would have to be Quinn plus, I don't know, Wahlberg. I don't know. It's
Wahlberg. That might be negative. That might be
the
negative
ultimate.
value.
What's the new Mike Weber, Tyler Ennis in a second, Jack Quinn, Anton Wahlberg in a third. Somebody will want it. Somebody will fish for it.
It's tough. It really sucks that Kulich wasn't able to play this year for many reasons, but to see where he is compared to where Östlund and Helenius are now is probably one of the biggest reasons.
Helenius.
I don't care.
I think it is weird because Kulich. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Somebody's breaking into your apartment.
At the beginning of the season, Kulich was slotted into the top line, right? He was supposed to be one of the.
Well, I'll try and guess what he was trying to say. He was slotted in to be your top center. He was supposed to be one of your top 6 forwards. He was probably supposed to have 20 goals this season, right? He was going to help your power play out. You thought he was going to bring a lot to the table this year, and unfortunately, you just didn't see it pan out. I mean, even like matchup wise, like Ruff has talked about how he could play against anybody. Like that would have changed a lot. So it's, I don't know, if we don't trade any of those three young forwards, like I would find it very hard to believe that all three of them will be with the team going forward after next year. Like I
Probably
feel like
not.
one of them is probably going to be shipped out.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
three young
cap-wise.
centers.
Cap-wise,
Yeah, and
Kulich's going to
cap-wise,
need
yeah.
a new deal after next year. Is Östlund next year? Obviously, Helenius, we're happy. I'm still happy they did it, but at the end of the day, they did burn a year of that contract, and if he has a big season next year, that's gonna be an easy early extension to chase after.
Östlund and Kulich are RFAs after next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. To consolidate what I was trying to say, you had three guys on the table.
Did you get him?
You had Kulich.
Did you take him out?
He's gone.
Okay.
You had Kulich, Östlund, and Helenius as trade chips.
Helenius.
That's what I said, right? Am I not doing it right?
You didn't roll the N.
Helenius. I don't know.
There you go.
You had three guys who were possible trade chips, and now there's all reason to not move on from them. As in, Östlund stepped up during the season. Kulich's been hurt, but Ruff talked about him as your number one center. And then you got a guy scoring the golden goal in the World Hockey Championships today. It's like something's got to give. Unfortunately, if you want to upgrade, you could run it. You could run this. You can.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Almost trying to make a splash.
If Helenius is now penciled in for next year, and that in a sense it takes a move off the table. Like I think for so much of this season, when you were thinking about the summer, like post, I think after the Thomas stuff happened and what we heard from that, and then knowing that if Tuch was going to be gone, they were going to need a big move to fill that hole. I think there was a lot of maybe just assumption that like, hey, Helenius is probably going to be used to chase after a big target, and that's going to be the trade of the summer. Are you comfortable with like if Helenius stays and like that's what they're riding on to maybe help? Like basically what they were expecting Kulich to do this year. Like if Helenius has a similar expectation, are you comfortable with setting up that type of offseason where you have one big move, right? Like it's kind of the summer of 24 all over again, where you basically just traded for Ryan McLeod.
I would say yes, just off the bat, off the nature of making the playoffs and how deep this roster was. I wouldn't be upset with that at all. I'm sure people would disagree with me, but
all right, I'm going to quote
it's got to be the right move. It's got to be the right move. Let me put a stamp on that. Like if you're saying the big move is some Connor Clifton, Eric Johnson type of deal, it's like it's not going to cut it this time. We're not doing that.
Yeah, it's funny. That would be an underwhelming off season for this team. Let alone that team.
Right. Jeez, man. Beginning of the pod. It's crazy. It's almost 4 years ago.
Yeah. Never forget Connor Clifton off-season MVP. Was so ready for that to work out.
Playing next to Dahlin.
I was like, they know what they're doing. Like he's gonna be good. He can play in the top four. Like he's gonna be all right. No, not really. Not really. No, they had to trade a second just to get rid of him for an even worse player. Not one of the finer moments of the last few years. In any case, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Sabre Report podcast. My name is Jonah.
I'm Christian.
And I'm JP.
And we are in the end game of the NHL playoffs. The Stanley Cup Final is set. It's one. Like, I'm trying to think of a worse Cup Final in recent memory, rooting interest-wise. 2021, I guess maybe like depending on what you thought of Tampa Bay that year, like that was the year. I mean, I know it's kind of a flashback, but that was the Dalton Smith year. That was the year they concussed Rasmus Dahlin, took out Vlad Zabotka's knee, and then you had Montreal opposite them with the whole Caulfield Lansanity run going on. I mean, I guess maybe that's more of a me thing.
I was about to
It's
say,
maybe
I think
more
the
of a
Caulfield thing's you.
that might be a me thing. But I mean, Eric Stahl still went off that playoffs, which was very annoying.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, no, that was not the same season as the Dahlin concussion, but it was like a year later. Other than that, like I don't know. Dallas Tampa wasn't great either. This is bad. This is very bad.
This one is by far the worst.
I think if you drew up the worst case Stanley Cup Final at the start of this playoffs, this is probably it, right? This has got to be it.
It's 100% it. Like
the Vegas Golden Knights will take on the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup Final.
I mean, do we really want Montreal though? That's the thing. It's nice to get them eliminated.
Probably not.
Come on, man.
We did not want them. No, Carolina's better.
But then you could say you lost to the Cup champ.
So you're saying they would be Vegas?
I'm not saying I believe in that, but I'm saying like, do you hold a stake in that argument ever? Like, at least I want to know that I lost to the champ.
I don't think I'd be able to live through an off season knowing the Canadians were the best team that came out of the East.
We were terrible, dude. They looked terrible. It was so
we were one Alex
bad.
Tuch give a damn away from the cup.
They were so bad, dude. Watching that conference final was just, oh my god!
Like did that? Like I know,
obviously,
obviously,
get tortured.
I think we enjoyed it, but like once it wrapped up, did you feel good about it? Like, because it's an interesting case. Like, would the Sabres, if a goal goes their way, if the ref doesn't blow the whistle early, like, do they fare better in this series? Or I guess I should say, is it a series? It's hard to imagine the Sabres doing worse than that.
No.
Like, really, I think just especially given, the warning signs were there. The Canadians, the Sabres did not get beat by Nick Suzuki, by Cole Caulfield, by Juraj Slafkovsky. They kind of got beat by Lane Hudson. At times, they got beat by Ivan Demidov. But, like, overall, those weren't the pieces that hurt you. You lost a playoff series to Alex Newhook, to Kirby Dach, to Philip Deneau. Like, that's what you lost the series to. And it's not to take away from Montreal winning that series. It's more so Carolina kind of took advantage of a team that was living off of their third and fourth lines, essentially. And given the way this series ended with the Sabres and the Canadians, I think the Sabres 5-on-5 game was at a much healthier point. So I think it would have gone better. Like, do you think this time right now would we be playing hockey here in Buffalo, New York for Game 6?
I don't know. We've had our struggles in that building for the past decade.
It just means
I'm really not sure. I don't think we win, in my honest opinion. I think we probably maybe push it to 6. It could have ended the same way, 5v5 or not. I mean, Jakub Dobeš kind of held him in that series.
Yeah, like the
was terrible.
goaltending thing is obviously a big factor.
It's kind of a give and take almost. So
I don't
know, man. The hypothetical, if you wish it would have happened, but it didn't. I don't know. We'll never know. We will never know.
Christian hates hypotheticals. I think
this guy's got to hate Justin Herbert.
I don't think we
push him out of my brain.
I don't think we would have gone any further than Montreal did with 5. I mean, maybe they go 6, but I'll just say they don't get any further. It just wouldn't have been as bad. Like, I just know that for sure. There's no way we would have had they'd 42 shots in 3 games, which I believe was like the lowest recorded in 3 games in a row.
We got to the third period, their season's on
Since
the
they've been
line.
tracking this, by the way.
They got to like
Sorry.
26 shots I had the Sportsnet broadcast on, and they were like, this is the most shots they've had in a game this series. And I'm just like, good God.
As bad as like talking, even Tage was like at times at 5-on-5. I don't think they were as bad as the top line from Montreal. Excluding Suzuki, like Slavkovsky and Caulfield were just like invisible at 5v5.
What do you think they do in the offseason? Do you think the organization knows that the goaltending kind of carried them through this and that their top guys didn't really do much?
They need a second line center. Like that's what they need. I don't know if they'll get it, but it's like, who was it in the final games? Was it Dunne? I don't even know.
So what you're saying is they basically need what we need. I'm not saying we need like a top line center. We both need a top 6 center.
No. Montreal needs a second line center.
I guess
They need one. The Sabres, if their center spine, if they don't make any changes to their center spine, well, they just got to the second round with that. I guess the argument's the same for Montreal, but it's like, I think the Sabres spine, if you keep it Thompson, Norris, and McLeod or Helenius, like you're gonna find more success. I mean, for a large part of this year, Oliver Kapanen was Montreal's second line center. He didn't even play in game. Didn't play this series. He had like one game. He scratched most of the Sabres series. They need one. And I will also say, this is the one I don't think they're gonna do. They need a top 4 defenseman. They need one bad, I think. At least like a puck moving one. I'm not the biggest fan of Caden Gooley. And Noah Dobson, though hurt, had a pretty horrendous playoffs. He had 1 point in 12 games. Yeah. So, Lane Hudson, he's still like he's going to be okay.
You can't even call him elite. You
he's a star.
Call him okay.
No, he's just. Well, I guess he's a star. He's a star.
Okay.
Don't pin this on me. Like I'm not a believer in him. Like he had a tough Carolina series, but
I think what the point I was trying to make, though, you're definitely right. They need a center more than us. But like, I mean, I guess if let's just say Robert Thomas is actually out there, I guess almost any team could use him. But what I'm saying is that
they should.
We will be like, we could be competing with the Canadians and like the Red Wings in like bidding for Robert
with
Thomas.
the Red Wings. Oh,
well,
so scary.
Obviously, the Red Wings need stuff too. I don't know. I'm just thinking of other players.
Yeah, they're really going to outbid us with Nate Danielson.
Okay,
I'm so
Canadians
scared.
And just the Sabres, we might be outbidding each other for Robert Thomas. And like, if you want to outbid them, got to give up one of your 2 young centers, basically, that weren't hurt this year.
I mean, yeah, it's probably if it's between this. I mean, Utah's like the other team that people think is just inevitable for those trade talks. But like, if it is between the Sabres and the Canadians, it's basically who blinks first between Michael Hagee and Konsta Helenius. It's like which team's going to blink first? Because that's probably what St. Louis wants out of each team. So, yeah, I mean, that would be a quote unquote race, but I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm sipping the Helenius Kool-Aid, but I'm just like, all of a sudden, like the Thomas trade just doesn't seem as opportunistic anymore.
He's had a incredible last few weeks, really. I do think we need to cool it a little, though. I mean, he's still 21.
But like what do you think he's gonna be? It depends on what you think he's gonna be.
I get it, but I just
we're not gonna know in the off season.
Well,
yeah,
for a fact. So it's like it's a gamble. It's a gamble you got to make.
Like, do you really
if you want this guy?
Do you think he is better than Robert Thomas? Like,
no.
What he projects to? I don't mean.
Well,
right
he could.
He
like,
projects to be better.
Like, where would you like if Sebastian Aho is the comp? Do you think Aho is better than Robert Thomas? It's pretty close.
I was gonna say it's pretty.
And
close.
you got a homegrown one instead of, trading him plus, right? Like the offer. What was the rumored offer? It was him, Murtka, and a first. Like, yeah, I know. Like I said, like Thomas for Helenius. Like I would do that. Like you're in your window now. You know, do you want to know a scary stat? Not scary, but like Tage Thompson's going to be 29 when next season opens. Like you're kind of like on the clock now, ish. If you think this is do or die with Tage Thompson, but I don't know. It's when I just said it's not as opportunistic. Like I said, Thomas. It hasn't changed my mind on him. I just think
reevaluating assets is it's tough. It's tough
especially
to do on the fly going into the
especially
offseason.
when that organization was being so stingy and we were just like, all right, here's a prospect, here's another one, take another one. God damn it, just accept the trade.
Well,
accept the
what
trade.
about this? What if like with how good of a run Helenius has had this last 3 weeks, like the Blues asked for less now if they just for Helenius?
Well,
like
what's less?
If it's just him and
Is
Merca, maybe him and a
just
first.
Helenius? Is it? I don't know.
Like maybe before the like 5 assets they were asking for, maybe it's just 3 now because he looks so good. Or I don't know. I just think I think putting the untouchable tag on any of our young forwards, I just think is kind of ridiculous.
Is it
like
New York Rangers?
Nobody's. No, it's not. No, it is not. No, it is not.
It's not. No, it's
and
not.
Even
that bad.
everybody knows it's a moving tag. Like there is something. Benson, I think I am truly in untouchable territory aside from like.
That's I
like
think
the
he's fair.
upper tiers, but it's like Helenius. I'm still like give it a year. Like where are we in a year? What if he blows the doors off and has a 65-point season in his first full season? I mean, what were his final numbers in the playoffs? I know it was only 3 games, but point per game, probably over if a disallowed goal goes in. He hit 2 posts. This guy came into the middle of a series. He made Jason Zucker look 26 again.
2 goals, 4 games. That's it.
Still.
Is the Josh Norris thing still on the table, St. Louis?
Don't think it ever was.
No,
Don't think it ever was.
It's not going to happen.
I'm curious what they
about
do
this? What about this? Hear me out. Josh Norris and 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, it's my McDavid offer in a year.
Management?
We'll have no prospects for the next 4 or 5 years, and we already have basically no prospects.
It's okay. We're in the window. It's okay. We're in the window.
Prospects are bad, remember? We were here like a year ago. Prospects suck.
Would you trade multiple first-round picks if it meant to go out and you got a high-fledged center? Would you trade multiple firsts?
Well, yeah. Oh, 100%.
For Thomas,
you did
I definitely would.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Considering how young he is.
Ranson in trade. Something like that. Like, yeah, I'd do that.
You're in the window.
For sure.
You gotta make these big swings. You want a big swing?
Oh,
no more draft.
And according to some insiders, we're getting there's names and trade rumors that your jaw would drop if you heard what was being said behind the scenes.
Do this every year.
And we fall for it every year.
Bullshit. I'm not falling. I'm just
waiting. I'm waiting for we could see some serious movement at the draft this year, unlike past years. That's the one. Every year it's like this. You're going to see a ton of movement, and we get like one trade up, like a spot, or like what was it, 2025? I don't think we get or 4. I think besides the Sabres trade down, which wasn't even on draft day. Like I don't think there was a single trade at the draft.
And it's so funny because all the insiders they try and do damage control after it's like it was unprecedented. How there was supposed to be big moves made. And it's like, dude, you do this every damn year. Yes, of course there's talk around. I 100% believe you that teams are talking 24/7, but you gotta pump the brakes. Seriously, pump the brakes just a little bit. Don't get our hopes up so much. That's why I'm not listening to it this year.
Yeah, Darren Dreger is like barred from any Buffalo reporting this year, him in particular. Anyways, back to the Cup Final, which we kind of got off topic. Vegas, Carolina. We've touched on it, I think just mostly in our Patreon episodes, which, by the way, patreon.com/Sabre Report. Members of the Sabre Report Patreon get access to a multitude of perks and additional content, including ad-free episodes of this Sabre Report podcast, Sabre Report podcast overtime episodes that we record every week. Tonight, we will be doing playoff-only player grades. Today, in this episode, we'll get the full scope grades from us, but patrons will get access to just playoff grades, which will probably be a lot of debate about what we should rank Alex Tuch at. Additional episodes, shout-outs at the end of each episode, live streams, and a whole bonus podcast, TSR After Hours, where we let loose, we have some fun, and talk about basically anything. Last episode, we went from the playoffs to JP broke the news that a rocket had exploded halfway through. and then I ranted about the Mandalorian and Grogu for 20 minutes. So that's kind of what you're getting out of that.
Any spoilers?
Without any spoilers. I did a great job.
Any spoilers.
I was very proud of myself.
Still haven't watched Andor, by the way.
I was going to say, have you guys... Oh, damn it. Watch Andor. Just watch Andor. Just watch it. And go see Mandalorian and Grogu so that we can spoil. Actually, don't see it.
I was going to say, you told us to wait.
That's true. Well, can I spoil it next time, or...
No.
Well, that's not fair. Well, I'm gonna have to wait 5.
You're gonna go on another rant.
You might only have to you might only have to wait another week till it's on digital. It's bombing at the box office, so maybe the wait is short. But yeah, fun stuff like that going on TSR After Hours. So again, patreon.com/Sabre Report. The Cup Final starts Tuesday. It's basically 24 hours away by the time you're listening to this, most likely. What's our final allegiance? I think mine's been made pretty clear. Somewhat clear. It was kind of a joke, but it is kind of how I'm feeling.
Vegas, because if they get another one, I really don't care. Carolina getting one with this core would suck. Obviously, go get in one would suck, but we already know they won the trade, so who cares? It is what it is. Marner getting one would be funny for the Leafs, even though I'd feel bad for Leafs fans, but I also wouldn't. Christian, I'd feel bad for you, but it would be hilarious, especially if he wins Conn Smythe.
I'm not playing in.
Yeah, what are you gonna your next day your day at work the day after he lifts the Conn Smythe is. I'm gonna feel so bad.
Take off.
I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna work twice as hard. Oh my god, this narrative is never going away. I know it. It's just gonna be the running joke now.
Who do you think the Leafs are taking first over? What's everybody saying? Are they taking McKenna first overall? Are they gonna trade the pick? What are your friends saying?
I don't know. You think I know? Why are you asking me? Go ask Steve Dangle. Go slide into his DMs.
You listen to his stuff, so yeah, we gotta know.
They run a good podcast.
You guys are pen pals.
I will say they have a good podcast.
Of course, you think they do.
They do. I'll be completely honest with you. They make good content and they talk about everything.
See,
it's like you guys listening to your Section 8 podcast or whatever.
Section 10.
Section 10.
In Christian's defense on this way, I know Jonah listens to the Winged Wheel podcast for the Red Wings. So.
Yeah, what the hell? He's listening to the Yzer plan.
Yeah, I'm not dropping mock off seasons in our group chat about what you think they should do.
That is.
When did I do that?
You have done it. Maybe not a full Puckpedia cap friendly type build, but you're man, if I was the Leafs, I'd do this. Oh, they gotta get out of the Riley contract. They should think about packaging.
They're not gonna. Can a man just enjoy another rebuild? Is it really that? Is it that hard?
It's a weird obsession.
It's not an obsession. I just enjoy other aspects of the NHL.
Listen, step one of healing is identifying the problem.
There's no problem to identify, so I'm not going to heal.
Okay, we have not crossed step 1 yet.
Cool. I don't drop Leafs stuff on this podcast. Nor do I like them.
Vegas, Carolina.
The nuke.
The one that blew up the other night? That one?
Yeah, the rocket that blew up. That's what I want.
I saw a video on Instagram. This dude had one of those indoor cameras in his house. The ones that just sit in the corner or whatever. It's just he's playing some video game. I don't know what it is. He's like standing up, and he's just like, "Oh God damn it!" And then you just see behind him the windows just start illuminating orange, and he has no clue. Like he did not turn around. He's like, "Son of a bitch, this stupid game."
And you see the sun behind him.
Somebody else was like filming it. They were like, "Oh, that looks like is that a new Disney firework?" And the mushroom cloud just rises up.
You might think the world is ending, like, or you might think like you're actually getting nuked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with. Man, this sucks. I think I said Carolina in our OT. I'm just gonna go with them. I don't want either of them to win, but if I had to pick one, whatever. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals so many times. Who cares? That they have a roster full of.
That's part of it. They keep failing. It's funny.
They got over their hump that they were stuck at. So it's
it's like the Yankees playing the Guardians to get to the Stanley or to get to the World Series. It's like this doesn't even count.
It counts. Oh, it counts.
He just doesn't want Marner to win one. I don't know why we expect him not to say Carolina.
God damn it. You guys are jerks. Just give me Carolina. Like, what's really the damage at this point?
I don't want to
cup. There's like whatever. Eichel doesn't get another.
All right,
one.
here's one: the Tulski glaze.
I don't care. No one cares about that market. Nobody.
Do you want to see Brindamore lift one though? I don't want to see Torts lift one.
We already saw
to be
him
honest.
do it in 2006.
Yeah, but I'm talking about as a coach.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a real cup.
He's going to be cemented as like a NHL legend if he wins one as a coach, as a captain.
He's had multiple great regular seasons with that team. It's like, honestly, it's kind of like, I don't know, do you want to compare it to Sean McDermott with the Bills if he finally got it done? The amount of times they failed in the playoffs?
Yeah,
whatever. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, well, I want the hate watch to. I want it to be successful. I want it to end like McDermott's did for Carolina, not for the Bills. Should have cut McDermott, by the way. I'm just saying. Just want to clarify. Not to bring this.
I'm gonna stick to my Carolina pick. I don't want to see Eichel to win another cup. Vegas is a snake of a franchise. I mean, I'm not saying Carolina isn't. They're both bad. Like all the crap they're pulling with Bruce Cassidy and just, I don't know. It's just a.
There might be one other employment issue with them, potentially.
What happened?
What
happened?
Nothing. Carolina has one of those as well. They did sign another one of those players.
Right. So.
Though he's not playing for the team and putting on a Conn Smythe bid, so it's maybe a little less annoying on that front.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to picking the exploding rocket. But if that doesn't happen, Carolina.
Okay. All right. What are our predictions? What do we think is going to happen?
I think Carolina wins in 6. I think Vegas will take a couple, but I feel like Carolina's depth is going to be the main factor here.
I want to say the same, but like Vegas just swept Colorado. I don't know. I don't think Vegas is good. I also know Carolina's historical chokers with
really?
this team.
You don't think they're good still?
I mean, I think they're. I didn't think they were good, but now they are.
They got hot at the right time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to 7. Like I just feel like one of these two teams is just not going to run away with it. But one of these two teams, I just feel like is going to be clearly the better team this series, and I don't know who it's going to be. Vegas is hotter, but I think Carolina is probably the better team overall.
I do like that line of thinking that somebody's just going to steamroll the other.
Someone's gonna whack someone.
I don't know if but a steamroll. I'm convinced that one of the teams will clearly be the better team. Like Sabres, Boston. Like Sabres are clearly the better team. We didn't steamroll them, but we are clearly the better team.
Okay, I see the vision.
I feel like
there.
it's gonna be like that. But I really don't know who it's gonna be. I'll predict Vegas just because they're hotter. Maybe Vegas in 6, but I'm not confident in that prediction at all.
I will go Vegas in 7. Just
It's
probably
gonna
gonna be
go all the way.
it's probably just gonna be grueling. It's just gonna be like, guys, can we just get the off season going?
Could we have more than 2 days before the draft to coordinate stuff, please?
When is the last game?
What do you care? You're gonna be out of town.
I'm talking about organizationally. Like, can we get a little bit of like an off-season juice?
Okay, you care about the corporations. Got it. Will somebody think of the millionaires?
Speaking of getting waxed, this is just me the past 40 minutes. God damn.
We've gone 40 minutes. Holy shit. The last game would be, first of all, it being on a Wednesday is crazy. Wednesday, June 17th would be the last game, and what the draft
like 10
is.
days. It's like 10 days, right?
I was gonna say the draft is what?
27th, 26th,
26th.
26th.
So yeah, I mean that's a good 9-10 days.
They can get their
being
private
on a
flights
Wednesday. That's so weird.
all scheduled.
I just think it'd be good to have a little bit of time before the draft to get some more, maybe some more talks in the trade mill.
For sure, definitely agree.
More
with
time
that.
to talk about stuff that won't happen.
Right.
Yes, that's,
Works for us.
That's the most fun.
Content.
It's the most fun.
Okay.
Carolina's only lost 1 game this whole playoffs too, though. Like I don't know who to pick. This is tough. Sorry.
All right. Before we move forward, just want to take this second to promote our sponsor. If you're hurt in a car, you can call our sponsor, William Mattar, 844-444-4444. With a focus on motor vehicle accidents, the team at William Mattar has handled thousands of cases like yours. Let them help you get the money you deserve after a motor vehicle accident. Rideshare, truck, motorcycle, car, only call William Mattar. 844-444-4444. All right, on to the main course of the episode. Player grades. Season's done. It's finito. And now it's probably a good time to, now that the dust has really settled on things, you've been able to really absorb and take a second to breathe about everything that happened. Good time to attach some grades to these players. And it's funny, we every year after year, we post the grades to social media, and we are called the ultimate optimists. We get the rose colored glasses on. We're not mean enough. I can only imagine what this year's might look like with how good of a season it was. Hopefully it's warranted. I think if there was a season to have a lot of good grades, I feel like it would be this one.
I think people also don't understand truly that we're basing it off of expectations.
I think
That's
we try
a
to
big thing.
we try to clarify all the time, and it just never.
We do.
People just
never.
read and they just get angry.
Like someone might not have been that good, but they did as we expected, then they're getting a B.
That's right. So, as JP said, every year our grades they're based off performance, of course, but mostly it's based off of performance relative to expectation. What did you think about this player going into the season? How do they perform relative to that? That is what we will be sticking to for this exercise. And that's how we'll be grading these players. So, JP, I know you've got the spreadsheet with all the equations set up. Do you want to walk us through each player?
Yeah.
Take us through?
Yeah, so
okay.
I just have it in point order, and then goalies, and then any Sabre staff. So we'll just go in point order. And yeah, we can start off then. Tage is first. Led the team in points. Is there anybody who wants to take it, or do you want me to start this one? Okay, I'll start because I think I'm gonna have I'll have an interesting one
we're
for
all
him.
scared. We're all scared of our takes here.
We're all scared. People are watching.
He's probably the one that I think about the most, but I also think his grade is going to look negative compared to everybody else. So I will say, points wise, he pretty much did as I expected. I mean, 81 points, 40 goals. I think that's should be
He
like
had
the
the most
standard for
Tage Thompson production season ever.
Yes. Even in the playoffs, he had 15 points in 13 games. But I think his on-ice impact this year, I don't think was to the standard it should be. At least compared to previous years where he was more of a play driver. Like this year, he really wasn't a play driver. He was more a catalyst of who he was surrounded with. I think we also learned that he probably isn't a top-line center on a cup contending team. Doesn't mean he's not a top-line player. I just think you can upgrade from a center standpoint. I gave him a C+, with all of that being said.
Wow. All right.
You're an asshole.
I still love
Start
Tage.
off.
He still
I
had a great
gave him an A+.
season, but like, yeah,
Asshole.
based off expectation, like
Get a load of this guy.
I gave all my players A pluses. No, I kind of had the same line of thought, JP. From a points perspective, he was as advertised this year, but the whole thing with not being able to drive play up and down the ice at points during the season, and the talk of moving him back to wing and then moving him back to wing, and he's a core player, but it's weird because it feels like he's not a player who is the core. It's someone you want to build around a little bit. I gave him a B-.
I also gave him a.
Sorry, I also want to say it sucked on the power play.
I mean, I don't think we can really take power play into account until we get to the coaching staff.
No,
Scrap that.
he's part of it. Don't care.
Okay. All right. I also gave him a B-. I think everything that they said was true. It just wasn't. I don't think this was truly this wasn't a Tage Thompson season. We have not talked about him like this. I don't think really ever, where like he was a disappointment and it was not injury related. Like he always has something, and he had the lower back thing this year, and he still produced, but it definitely didn't feel like he drove his line this year. I think, he was attached to Josh Doan for a large part of that, and he was maybe the best play driver on the team this year. And I am really hoping that he was just very, very tired this season. He's played a lot of hockey in the last calendar year, and actually just in the last 365 days. So, on this day a year ago, he was winning a gold medal for Team USA after playing a full season with the Sabres. It's I'm really hoping to see him next year, like, reestablish himself. Like, I would love another 22-23 season. It feels like he had that year, and it's like, I just want to see one more. I want to see Tage kind of get back to that level. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to be having conversations about, should Thompson be the perceived best forward on the team moving forward. So, it's not a great sign he got moved off center the last few games. It's not probably the greatest sign, of what the team thought, given they chased after Robert Thomas. He was still fine this season. I think you want more. So I went B-. I could be swayed to C+, but there were still moments this season, and especially in the playoffs. Game 1 against Boston, Game 6 against Boston, Game 6 against Montreal. Like, there were still moments where he was Tage Thompson.
For sure. I will say, like, for my playoff grade, I bumped him up, one, not an entire letter grade, but one, grade just because of his Game 1 performance. So definitely got to take into account something like that.
I bumped him down 1 for not shooting on a 2-on-1.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's fair.
I defended him on that.
Okay. So Tage, he hit the average was a B-. So that's where we're at with him. We pretty set with that. I think that's fair. I'm good with that. Okay. Dahlin, next up.
I could take this one. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I mean, this is the franchise. This is your franchise player with all the crap he had to deal with this year, with just the health related stuff with his fiance and having to play through all that and still being the captain of this team into the playoffs, the clutch moments he had in the playoffs, throughout the season, just being an absolute beast in general. I mean, I gave him an A plus. Is that too generous? Is it too generous to give Rasmus Dahlin an A plus?
I don't think it's
Depends who you're
generous.
talking to.
I don't think it's generous. My grade, he was an A plus the entire season after his leave of absence. I think, there was a month and a half stretch there. He was not playing good hockey. Like, it wasn't just Tage that we were frustrated with when the season began. It was him as well. And we know why he was where he was. He needed that leave of absence. He came back, didn't miss a beat. Came back, put on a Norris campaign, got nominated for the Norris Trophy, was fantastic in the playoffs. Game 7, he nearly saved the season in Game 7, and a 5-point performance in Game 6. Like, everything from November 15th, I think, is when he came back on. A-plus season. I just, he wasn't great to start the year, so I bumped him down to an A.
Asshole. What an asshole.
I gave him an A minus. Obviously incredible. Maybe his best season, but I feel like A plus for me would have been like, oh, he's clearly the best defenseman in this league. And like he's kind of just he's in the Norris obviously he's Norris finalist. I don't know if he was like the best defenseman this entire year. He was great in the playoffs as advertised, had some clutch moments. And if you take into account everything he had to go through, like obviously insane year. But I would say based off my expectations, yeah, an A minus. Which the three of us, that leaves him to an average of an A, which I think is right on for him.
I agree. Well, if you think it's right on, why didn't you put it A?
Well, I think as an average, I can have my own opinion. I'm known as the negative one when it comes to these grades, which is I think it's funny.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I still remember grading Quinn last year. That was a fun 5 minutes. I think I saw red.
Okay, well, this one you might see red. Alex Tuch.
I'm not going to see red, okay? I'm not going to see red. Like, this is, listen, he left a sour taste in everybody's mouths after the second round series, and for good reason. But, this is the exercise. You got to take the whole season into account. And I think just like Tage Thompson, he had the most Alex Tuch season production-wise. I think very similarly, you were kind of like, this isn't quite Alex Tuch that we've come to know. Is he playing for that contract? Is he playing not to get hurt? And then the regular season ends, and it's like, holy shit. Like at the Boston series, he's their best player, not named Bowen Byram or Alex Lyon. Like, he was sensational that series. And then you walk into the Montreal series, and it's just not
Crickets.
Where you needed it to be. Crickets on the score sheet, not bad. And it wasn't hurting the team, but he just obviously wasn't a factor in the series. And it's just kind of like, if that's the end of his tenure, it's a bad end. So taking all those things into account, I just went with a B, I guess. It's tough to really ride the highs and lows so much and try to pick a single score to define all of it. I think if it was the regular season, I probably would have just done, I feel like still B. And like the Boston series was like, holy shit. And then the Montreal series was like, holy shit. So I just went with a B.
I gave same grade as I did for Tage, a C+. I would apply almost all the same stuff that I said about him. I think this year he didn't really drive play or wasn't as effective as a forechecker as he was in past years, and still had a great season, but I think I just don't think he drove play as much as he did in the past, and I think that was evident throughout the entire season. Great round 1, but obviously the round 2 brings him down. I'm sticking with the C+.
Well, it looks like my grade's going to win this one because I gave him a B minus.
Yep.
Isn't that lower than a B?
We're saying the
Yes.
average.
The average.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, it'll average out to a B minus.
Gotcha.
But with me, I don't know if it's more recency bias based off of watching the Montreal series, trying to not take that too much into account. But I don't know. When you're going into a contract year, it's like you can't play scared, you can't play hurt. And even if we're talking about, was he playing to not get injured? Maybe. He still had a great year. He still had a fantastic year. But riding the highs and the lows, it's just I just wanted to see a little bit more out of him, especially down the stretch. So that's why I kind of landed on a B minus.
Okay, Ryan McLeod. I'll let Jonah lead this one off.
So
By
wait,
the way,
JP. Hold on,
before you
JP.
get
Hold on, wait,
into
no. I let me say it because I know what you're going to say.
Okay, yeah, you go for it.
It's so you said we're doing this based off points, right? Like the order.
Yes.
So Ryan McLeod was 4th on the team in points.
Yes. Yep.
And I believe he was kind of their third line center most of the season. Didn't get a lot of power play time.
Yep.
Now, where was he on the team in hits? Let's look up that category.
So explain to me why suddenly, for some people, he's like the guy to trade. Can't do it.
Good question.
Yeah, McLeod, he was someone that I thought his production was going to dip this year. I just didn't think after all the opportunity he had in 24-25 and how good he was that season, I just didn't think he'd repeat that. He did and then some. I mean, he was fantastic. Obviously, I guess hit a goal-scoring dry spell towards the end of the year, but then even then, he was great through the regular season. Production obviously took a hit in the playoffs. It was 4 points in 13 games, 5 points in 13 games. It wasn't the greatest playoffs in the world. I'm a believer that was mostly based off of role. As soon as he got thrown into a higher spot, produced the last 2 games, looked great. So I think for me, I know the playoffs are weighed heavier, but still I'm trying to look at the fuller picture, and yeah, maybe I'm a little biased. I went with an A minus.
I gave him a B plus. Pretty much probably said. I think he had a Ryan McLeod season, but he had a career high in points. He had 40 assists, which is a 3rd on the team. And honestly, he was kind of known as not being a playoff player for the Oilers. So what he did this year was like pretty much met my expectations in the playoffs. That's not meant to be a diss. It's just kind of what I expected.
I gave him a B. I thought he was. I thought it was a pretty standard year for him. I think he did perform very well. I think that third line that was locked together for so long kind of got stale throughout parts of the season.
Did it though?
Yeah, going to I mean,
in the playoffs, sure. I'm not gonna argue that, but
you wanted to see it get broken up. I know that people wanted to see it get broken up at some point, and I was kind of.
To me, it's just
you can only rearrange the top 6 so much. You could move that line around more. And this isn't an indictment on McLeod. I'm just saying in general,
Flinty Ruff does
this. Hampered my expect. Would have
Flinty Ruff
hampered
does
my
it 2
my grade
games
on
earlier.
him.
We're playing hockey right now.
Fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
That is.
It's funny for me to hear you say like, "Oh, this is a typical Ryan McLeod season." Like that's what the standard is at now. It's just funny. He's
That's
perfect.
fair.
Okay.
I feel
Leave it
like
at that, I guess.
maybe it was because of the 2 players he played with the most. I do feel like his defense impact maybe went down a bit. I don't know if
saying
the
Jack
numbers
Quinn
actually
is
back
not
that.
strong defensively.
And Zucker. I do feel like his defensive impact decreased, but maybe the numbers don't even back that if it's isolated and not line factored. But I don't think. I think that's a fair statement. Okay, next one. I think I know all the grades we might give this guy. Josh Doan, 5th on the team in points. I'll just say A+.
A+.
I don't think anybody thought
A+.
we were going to extend him coming in this year.
People were
as a
like, he
contract.
might be like, it's going to be tough, with because, the right side of their team was maybe going to be, Thompson was going to be on the wing on the right side. Then you had Tuch, and you had Jack Quinn. It's like, man, is he going to play on the 4th line? No, he was probably their best forward this season, all things considered. Yeah, he was an A+.
Yeah.
A+.
Great season. Next up, Jack Quinn. Kind of had like a tale of two seasons. Like the first half, he was, I wouldn't say bad, but I don't know, kind of.
Definitely the whipping boy.
Yeah. Second half of the season, he was great. So what do we got?
Well, again, if we're basing this off of expectations, and I agree with that statement, it was kind of the whipping boy. It was just, typical Jack Quinn. I mean, not great in the defensive zone, but man, like his game changed throughout going through the season. You could see it on the ice. He looked confident. He was skating. He was skating quick. He was strong on the puck. One thing I always hated about his game is he was so easy to move off the puck, and he found the confidence to hold on to it for a half second longer. He was scoring A-.
Wow. A- for Quinn. It
you're
really is
saying
how
wow.
you finish. Well, it really is how you finish. I think it's just like, yeah, he had a great end to the regular season, and then he popped off the last few games of the Montreal. Well, I shouldn't say the last few games, but obviously Game 6 was the coming out party, and he had looked really, really good that series. I think for me, it's just I don't want to forget about the months leading up to that. He was the whipping boy for like as far as the trade deadline, and was not a player you could trust in the defensive zone. And I know it sounds like I'm dragging dragging him through the mud. I put him at a B. I think it all averaged out to like a B. The highs were definitely higher than I expected, but then even then, like the lows, there were spurts of 24, 25 Jack Quinn this season. So I'm hoping, it was a long process with him, and you were really, pleased with, how it went. So, hopefully he can build on it to next year. It's a big upgrade from going from an F grade in my book to now a B.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I said, surprised you said wow to Christian because I gave him an A. I mean, like you said, I think the recency bias might be leading into it, but I think his game changed visibly towards the end of the season, and I was surprised on how, he adjusted to the playoff style, and I think he was really just snake bitten in the playoffs. Like if he had, I don't know, Tage led the team in goals in the playoffs, right, with 5, I believe. Looking at it, yeah, and tied with Benson. Like I could have easily seen Quinn also have 4 or 5 goals. I think he was just snake bitten. I think, I was the person saying before the trade deadline that you can't trade him. And, going into this offseason, I do whatever. But I think he proved to me that he can actually be like a middle 6 player and be impactful. And he surprised me in how much he turned into a good playoff player. So I gave him an A, and that's probably recency bias, but I think he surprised me this year, considering we all wanted him gone last year.
Yeah, true. So maybe the bar wasn't set too high. So again, relative to expectations here.
Yeah. So he gets a A- after everything.
Disgusting.
Next up, Jason Zucker. To me, I think he kind of had like the opposite of Quinn's season. I don't know if that's ridiculous. Like I think he started off pretty good, then I think he quieted off.
I mean, there were some injuries in there and whatnot.
Definitely injuries. The playoffs, obviously, was pretty bad up until Helenius got added to his line.
Helenius.
And I don't know. I think it was pretty close to what you expect of Zucker the entire season. But I still think it wasn't as good as it could have been. Like, he was really good on the power play early in the season, then it kind of just stopped. I gave him a B-. And I guess we should have known this before we get into the playoffs, even though, I mean, who thought we'd be making the playoffs? But he's not really known as a playoff performer, and we all kind of were hoping that he was going to be a playoff performer for him. But yeah, I'm going to stick with the B-.
I went with a B. He kind of met my expectations in a weird way. I think a lot of it was just, I feel like he was probably one of our only good power play guys, even if he was scoring goals off the back of his, the back of his ass. I think he had a pretty good season. I don't know. It was weird because there were times I feel like I didn't notice him too much. But there was also times where I feel like he stepped up and he was pretty clutch for this team. So factoring all that together, I just went with a B. It's strange. It is, because he hit a lot of moments. We send the Jason Zucker meme in the chat all the time. I was just remembering all the times we sent that meme, and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to say it here.
Oh, you can't say, we sent the Zucker meme.
Give me the Zuck.
He did have the massive goal in the Tampa game.
Yeah.
Like, they'll never forget about that.
Yeah, that brings up
he had some memorable
full
moments.
Point.
But again, he's not a playoff performer. Went quiet at times. I just went with a B. We kind of all met back in the middle.
Same here. I went with the B. I think, there was injury stuff worked in here. I mean, he was playing through injury at times. It's also a player that, if you remember, I said at one point, I'm like, this guy is cooked. And he was very not cooked. He was still effective at 5-on-5 and throughout the whole season. And I think it's that third line was really all on the same wavelength. It was never felt like one. They were all going at the same time. So for me, like, the logic with Quinn kind of applies to the same with Zucker, where there's parts of his game I didn't like and parts that I were. I just went with a B. I think this is basically, the production was probably higher. The raw points were higher than I thought they'd be, but a lot of those power play, I think from a even strength perspective, it's very what I expected it to be.
Okay, he averages out to a B. Next up, Zach Benson.
I had really high expectations for Zach Benson this year, and I really do think he met and exceeded them. I gave him an A. And the only reason I didn't really go to an A+, I think at the end of the day, is just the points. I feel like he's going to get there, but he was one of the most important players to this team in the playoffs down the stretch. Like, just... who would have thought, man? Who would have thought the rat Zach Benson?
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
who
would have thought? Like, I thought this was all there for him. Like, I thought the regular season is very much what I shouldn't say maybe what I expected. What was my preseason hot take? Didn't I say like 65 points?
Yeah, I think you predicted like 50 assists.
Listen, all right, that's not ridiculous. He didn't. My whole logic was he was going to play with Tage Thompson. He really didn't. He didn't get as much power play time as he should have. If you give Zucker's power play points to him, he's in that range. But I digress. I digress. No, I mean, the regular season is kind of what I expected, and then the playoffs, he just fully ascended into what you hope he's going to be for the next 10 years. I mean, after he went pointless the first 3 games of the Boston series, and then after that was basically point per game, or like 9 points in 10 games, I think. So, yeah, I mean, he was spectacular in the playoffs. It was a coming out party. He was great. So I went with an A.
I'm surprised I'm the only one who gave him an A+.
Feeling a little synergy here between me and Jonah. I don't know where JP is here.
I like where your head's at.
Yeah, I like where your head's at right now.
Yeah.
I thought the same as both of you when it came to the regular season, but then I looked at the stats and I was like, 43 points in 65 games, 82 game pace. He would have had like 55 points. Like that's actually like really good considering he just turned 21. Like I thought it was going to be less points in more games, to be honest. So obviously it was his coming out party.
Just take a dump on Christian's point argument, I guess.
I was surprised. I mean, he was on pace for 55. I was surprised by that. So I'm going with an A+, coming out party. I think he's reached untouchable level, and you could argue could be your best impact forward on the team. Next up, Bowen Byram, who all three of us wanted traded before the season started.
Oh my God, don't remind me, man. Dark times.
It was a good year for him. I put him in an A.
It was. Well, I think I jinxed. I did a little jinx between me and Jonah now.
Did you go A+?
I gave him a B. I gave him a B+.
All right, I love that. I love that.
I feel like I kind of want to.
I thought I was being too kind because it's just like I think at times it's like I almost thought he was like a detriment to the team at times. I mean, before the season, we thought he could
playing with Timmins.
Well, yeah. But it was like before this season, it's like you kind of thought he could only play with one player on the whole roster, and then that obviously wasn't the case this year. The production obviously saw a big bump. A lot of that was he took Owen Power's spot on the second power play unit. It was good. It was a great year for him in terms of doing what the top four needed him, being what the top four needed him to be. So I went with an A. Would not give him $10 million.
Yeah, I agree with Jonah and basically all he said. And I think when we talk about him being a playoff performer like he was for the Avalanche, he definitely was in the Bruins series, not as much in the Canadian series. But I'll echo everything Jonah said. So he averages out. I gave him an A. He averages out.
I'm going to bump my grade up to an A-.
Okay. Then he averages out to a A. This one, I think it'll be a short conversation.
A+ for Mattias Samuelsson.
A+.
I give him an A++. I don't know if we can go I don't know if we can go higher, but like that is
what is easy. Is there could we do S? Like he's the first S tier grade in history.
We might have to.
I mean,
Sammy Saint. It's S for Sammy Saint.
Truly, I don't know. I don't have the words to describe the year he had. I mean, what 40? What did he finish with? What was his final point total? 45.
He had like 44 points.
41.
41 points. God. 41 points.
Defenseman.
Not to mention
who is your shutdown defenseman?
Staying healthy this year. Just in the amount of big moments he had. I know he didn't. I guess he didn't score in Game 7, but he basically did. He had an overtime winner this year on 3-on-3. I can't say enough good things about him.
The goal in New York.
Yeah, the short-handed, short-side snipe. I think we didn't even touch on
the entire
that.
season. It's Game 1.
Yeah, in the Game 1 goal. It's just what an unbelievable year for him. Just hell yeah, sticking it to the haters, ourselves included.
Yeah, he made us eat crow.
It'll be funny seeing our expectations for him next year and then like our grades. Because it's like
they're sky high, man. You got a lot to live up to now.
Are they
Fun
sky
time's
high?
over.
Are we expecting regression? It'll be
Fun
funny.
time's over.
Okay, next up, Peyton Krebs. I can start with this one. I've always loved Krebsy. I think he pretty much. He had career high in points by quite a bit. He had 39. I think his career high was like 20 something. He had a great season. I think he showed that he can move up and down this lineup, especially with how good he was on the top line at times. He was great in the Bruins series, but he was invisible in the Canadian series. I don't think that ever gets brought up, considering how good he was in the Bruins series.
I think it was that line.
Yeah, definitely the whole line. I'm going with an A-. I think, considering how much he proved he can be versatile in this lineup compared to where we only hoped he would be able to do that in the past, I think he had a great year.
Yeah, I think for me, the versatility was the big thing. Him getting bumped up to the first line, and just during the season, it didn't even look like he missed a beat from playing on the fourth line. He just, went into that role, and he stepped up. And I mean, career high in points was awesome. It was super happy for him. Really am. I gave him a B+. Think he definitely surpassed my expectations.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just that whole monologue to result in a B+. It's just funny to me.
Expectations. It's relative to expectations.
Did he not?
This is a passing grade.
Okay. A damn near 40-point season for him. Definitely was not in my expectations. I think what JP said was true. I mean, you got to look at the Montreal series just as much as you looked at the Boston series. And like Christian said, the versatility was just like, he's a player so many teams want. Just like, hey, we need to spark the lineup. Let's throw this guy who plays in our bottom six onto the top line, and he'll do his thing. And he did. Great year for him. A-.
Next one. Josh Norris.
Here we go. Now we're getting into the fun ones. Let's go.
Before we get into this, I do want to mention he had 34 points in 44 games, which comes out to almost a 70-point pace.
Don't
34.
care. Respectfully, don't care.
63-point pace, which would have put him fourth on our team in points.
I'll say that my expectation for all these players going into the season is to stay relatively healthy. And that includes Josh Norris, okay? He does not get exempt from
Really?
this.
Okay, I find that very hard. I mean, come on. That's like saying I expected Mattias Samuelsson to stay healthy all these past years.
It doesn't make it
No, it doesn't make it better. No. Like, I'm not going to...
No, I think in a way it doesn't make it fair, because if I'm grading these players based off expectation, I can't kind of throw another I know
that's fair.
Injuries does play a little bit of a factor into it. Of course, you miss games, but like, I can't use that. Like, oh, he missed time to kind of either benefit his case or to, hamper. I don't know, man. It's just been a disappointment all year. I don't know. I give him a D-.
Oh my! Okay, I think that's a bit. All right, as somebody who has said a lot of mean things about him, I think that's.
He makes the most money on the team, man.
I know.
I expect this guy to perform. He's technically your first line center. I mean, if Tage Thompson isn't playing center, he is supposed to be your first line center. He makes the most money on the team. You could see. I don't even know why I went on that diatribe about injury, because I can't even use that as an excuse now. Because now I'm saying because he's injured, so I backed myself into a corner here.
I do think that's a little like, it's not a mistake that this season turned around a week after he got back.
JP's blissfully unaware of what grade I gave him.
JP, what grade do you think Christian gave Josh Norris?
D-.
Oh
my gosh. And I thought I was being harsh.
That's what I said. I like I said, like, I get it. He wasn't that bad. You're acting like this guy had like 9 points in 30 games or something along those lines. He just was a perfectly average player. But you need more. Like you said, you need more. He makes the most money. He was the first line center when this series ended, or when this season ended. I totally understand that. It's just the games he did play in, especially in the regular season. Like, he was Josh Norris. Like, I think, it was a different Josh Norris. He set up a lot more players. definitely shot the puck a little bit less. I gave him a C+.
I gave him a C. I think pretty much what you guys said. I think even for the playoffs, like I feel like he was still pretty good for impact wise, but I mean 3 points in 10 games when in the highest paid 4 is just unacceptable. Just needs to have more production. And I think this year solidified even more that you need at the very least like a top 6 center, considering Tage and Norris are your 2 guys and one's hurt all the time and the other one's not driving play as much. The other guy can't even shoot. So I feel like C's pretty fair. Like impact wise, yeah, I might be like near a B, like impact wise, but it's got to be better out of him.
Could I walk back the injury thing that I said when JP walked away?
You were such a strong believer in that.
Listen, here's the thing though. Like going into these grades, I really didn't want to put like the whole injury thing as like a main factor for all this stuff. But now that I'm kind of going through this list and like, we talked about Samuelsson, we talked about like coming back, being healthy, all this stuff. I think it is a fair argument to make. So I want to walk that back. Apologies. Injuries will be a little bit of a factor here, but maybe I am being a little harsh on him.
Just
maybe
a little.
Sticking with it.
I'll give him a D+.
You don't gotta cave. You don't have to.
No,
that's what you truly thought.
It's not that I'm not trying to cave, but it's just the fact that he's hurt so much. I feel like a large portion of my brain just kind of like wiped him from the team. But you're right. He did have some good moments throughout the season. But yeah, the injury thing, it's tough. I'll go D+. I'll say D+. Not leaving the D tier, but I will bump the minus to a plus.
Okay.
Giving it a peer pressure
out to a C. Next up, Owen Power. I think he had a great playoffs, and I think it kind of turned around some people's opinions on him. I think his defensive game got a lot better this year. There weren't as many complaints about him this year, mainly because he wasn't missing as many coverages. He still had his moments, but I think his defensive game got a lot better this year. But as good as he was, his production was down. Like you want more from him production wise. Even in the playoffs, I think he only had a few points, even though towards the end of the playoffs he was doing great production wise. I think he had a good season. You just hope he gets more production. And I mean, he was taken off the second power play unit completely because of that. So I went with the B+. His defensive game got a lot better. He was better in the playoffs than I expected, but you do want more production out of him.
All right, I was expecting worse after that whole thing. Well, I just think it was. I thought he was he was fine for the most part, and he took a step up in the playoffs. And I think the lack of production was fairly, it's basically he just got less power play time, which I don't think it was. I don't think he was deserving of to get booted from the top unit or the
right because the
second
power
unit.
play was putting so many pucks in.
Listen, they still score. All right, that's the whole problem. All right, that's why it'll never change. It's an endless cycle. They just still score. But Byram had he got a bunch of points on he had a bunch of secondary assists on the power play. It's definitely gonna make your stat line look better. So I just went with a B. I think there's more. You want more. But he was still fine. And the playoffs, especially playing through the last 2 games on a grade 3 sprain. I mean, just what a maniac. Looking forward to some positive regression next year.
Yeah, I think for me the one thing that kept him out of the A tier for me was the production. Um, but yeah, I feel like he did take a step forward defensively this year. Um, yeah, what a beast in the playoffs, man. Especially the setting up that Dahlin goal, like to almost save the season, and he's just an absolute horse. He bolsters your whole defensive core. I feel like he is just the glue that holds that thing together. I gave him a B plus. I I think that's a fair grade for him. I'm hoping to set my expectations a little higher next year, so maybe he'll really blow me out of the water. So
Per natural stat trick, he had the highest expected goals for of any of your defensemen.
he's the most due defenseman in the league.
So, okay, so he averaged out to a B plus then. Next one up, we already talked about him a little bit in the beginning of the episode. Noah Östlund.
I think for me, this was a player that I think just basically nobody was really talking about as much as he deserved. I think that even applies to us. I think he had a very narrative changing season on him, and the points were there. It's a player Lindy Ruff quickly fell in love with. It's a player that got the general manager fired because of how well he was playing. And he's just one of their more important pieces going forward. If he doesn't get hurt in the postseason, we might be headed to Carolina. He's clearly become such an important player for this team, and to see his rise in the last 12 months to the forefront has been so much fun to watch. I gave him an A.
I agree. I also gave him an A. I think he's just one of your more high IQ players and responsible players out there. And yeah, I think considering how his first stint up this year really wasn't the best, and he came back and just proved everybody wrong, and he was insane in the playoffs, and Ruff might trust him more than like any forward on the team. So, A for me.
Lindy Ruff's favorite player, possibly. I went A minus. Thought that was a pretty fair grade. I know I'm in the minority here, but fantastic on the ice this season. Beat my expectations. I really think the only thing that would have bumped him up to an A is if he just had more points. But I mean, I can't even really knock him for that because he really was stellar in most facets of the game throughout the entire season.
All right, he gets an A. Beck Malenstyn, I'll just say I gave him a B. I think he literally matched expectations.
He's just the easiest B of all time.
You know who he is now? He is our new Jacob Bryson.
Oh no,
Beck,
he's not. I don't know
for Beck the Bullet.
I'm pretty sure I gave him lower grades than a B.
What? That's ridiculous. Bryson was the easiest B year after year.
Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I actually gave him the highest grade at midway through this year.
There you go. There you go. Oh, I missed that kid. B from Malenstyn.
Yep, B's all around. Next up, Conor Timmins.
You guys can go first.
I gave him a C plus. I think he has Ruff's trust, especially on the penalty kill. That dude does know how to block a shot like no one else. I think at time, like there were some times where he was really good this season, sometimes where he was really bad this season. I don't think he was awful, but I also don't think he's an ideal number 5 going into next year. Like you definitely got to upgrade off of him. But yeah, I'll stick with the C plus. I think it was fine. Overall fine.
I went with a C minus. I think for me it was, I mean, outside of missing time from the broken leg, I just don't think he was as solid defensively as some people may have thought he was. I mean, yes, he does block a lot of shots, very important part of the game. But you could see it when especially when you get to the playoffs, man. It's like some of the decision making was just a little. It was a step behind. It was just don't know if it's ideal going forward.
Jonah's got a devious smile right now.
I think Where are you going with this, man?
You guys are just Well, it's funny. Both you guys have brought it up. Yeah, he blocks shots. He never has the puck. Therefore, he gets in the way of when the other team takes the shot. Yeah, I don't know. Like I definitely expected more out of him this year. I definitely did. You know, the underlyings with other stops in his career were positive at points, and he was bad. I mean, he was one of their worst players this season, I thought. I know, you know, I can't give brownie points to him for gaining Lindy Ruff's trust. I think it's not a good thing, in my opinion, as we saw in the later games of the postseason. I just thought he was bad, and I wasn't expecting a ton out of him. And I just, you know, anytime him and Byram stepped onto the ice, the puck was going in your net. And I don't know. I just was not a fan of his season, so I will go with a D.
All right, he averaged out to a C-. Tyson Kozak, I think for me, did about as expected, but he wasn't like the fourth line staple you'd hope he was coming into this year. So I gave him a B-.
Yeah, I guess. I just went
right out of my mouth.
I wasn't expecting him to be a staple.
No,
Personally.
but
I thought he could have been a more like nightly player than what we saw. I mean, I don't know. Like end of last year, you just really thought you had a gem. I think you still may.
Well, who was he competing with? Sam Lafferty?
fair point.
You put him next to
grade Sam Lafferty.
You put anybody next. Yeah. No, I don't know.
I also gave him a B-.
Yeah, I don't think in any like our mock off seasons we were ever. I don't know if he was ever really a staple on my fourth line. He was just always, especially once they signed Danforth, you ran the numbers. He was always going to be on the outside. So for me, he was a B. I think we're arguing too much over a guy who's a point difference from all of us.
Put some respect
B-
on that man.
Next up, Carrick. I gave him an A.
I can't even take the playoffs into account.
Really?
I mean,
I am, because he should not have put himself in a game. I'll put it that way. I don't think he should have put himself in.
I can't blame that on him. I genuinely can't.
I think you can.
In the time he spent with the team, he was fantastic. Should not have gotten into a fight the night Norris got hurt, and he just should not have played in the playoffs. Outside of that, he was an A player. I gave him an A.
I also gave him an A. So,
what did you give him? What did you give him?
Well, when you said A, it just kind of threw me off. I was like I'm in like the B tier. Like I thought he was I gave him a B+, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing A just because when he left, I feel like I saw the last of him. And I have to take into account the playoffs because he tried to play.
I guess.
I
That
think
was one game, though.
I'll agree with Christian. Like, I think impact-wise, I'd probably give him like a B+. But how the hell? I mean, he had 5 goals in 12 games.
I was gonna say,
that's
the games
me.
the games he played this season, he outproduced his own Rangers total in the previous 60 games. I mean,
Impact-wise, I agree with Christian, though.
I guess. I don't know. It's hard. Like, I didn't have an opinion on the player, and then he came in and scored 6 goals in like 8 games.
Yeah, he did just kind of like burst onto the scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Huge goal in the Tampa game.
Like,
I just hope
if he's healthy, we might be going to Carolina.
I just hope that Anders Lee thing is like not like a turning point in his career.
Oh,
like,
he'll be.
He
He'll be
might not be
fine.
the same player.
I think he'll be okay.
He's been in the league a long time.
All right. He averages out to an A-. Zach Metza.
It's kind of like your Jacob Bryson, but I mean, he was an AHL player, came up and he earned his spot on this team. And I know we didn't really see him in the playoffs until the end. It's funny, you put him in the lineup and he scores. I know it's a garbage time goal, but he played his role well. You saw how highly that his teammates talked about him throughout the course of the season. I think he's a great role player for where he is. I gave him an A-.
I think that a lot of this season, it's, they had all those wins because no goals were going into the net when he was on the ice. And it was obviously like that was the moment where I think he captured and endeared himself to a lot of people. I still just think at the end of the day, like Christian said, I've always thought of him as Jacob Bryson, even when the PDO numbers were off the charts. And you saw the effect of him being back in the lineup once he re-entered against Montreal. But even then, I think he barely played in Game 7. He is what he is. He's a 6th defenseman. But it's a good story. I put him at a B+.
I gave him an A+. I mean, literally had no expectations of him coming into the year, and now he's like, I think comfortably should be your 7-8 defenseman going into next year. Went on a legendary PDO bender. So I give him an A+. That averages him out to an A-. Next up is Jordan Greenway.
You know what? I'm not even going to attach. I'll say this. This guy was nearly the hero of Game 7. And for that, I nearly would have... He nearly earned himself free rounds of beer to whatever bar he stepped into in Buffalo. That being said, he was one of their weakest players this season. I gave him an F.
You pay this guy $4 million, and he just... Listen, when they re-signed Zucker and Greenway, I was excited.
He was a good player for them last year.
He was a good player for them last year.
You know what's funny?
He was not at all this year.
I agree with you guys completely. He was good with you guys. I was looking at his stats. I can't believe he only played 34 games last year.
Well, I know. That's
like he was
more
really
available
good,
this year?
he only played 34 games.
Was he more available technically? That's crazy.
Yeah, he had 40 games played this year.
It's like
40 games, 6 points.
I understood why they did it, but at the same time, I memean, I think perception on him has changed so much because of how bad he was this season. Now everybody thinks of him as a fourth line player. Coming into the season, I don't think anybody was really throwing him on the fourth line, or like people couldn't see them throwing him on the fourth line because of the money and because of him last year. And that's kind of where he's played himself into. And yeah, I know there was injury stuff and they didn't know how to treat the injury. Don't get me wrong. I know that's not his fault. It's just, he was one of their worst players. So I went with an F.
I gave him a D-.
I gave him a D. So he averages out to a D-. Okay, this one we had on our list. All right. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I gave him a D grade. Whatever. Oh, jeez. Okay, this one I am okay if we don't grade him. I just think it's completely unfair to grade this guy. We had him on the list, though, so it's up to you guys. This is Jiri Kulich.
I was going to bring this up. I'm not giving him
I feel like it's very unfair to
grade him. Just scratch it.
Scrap him.
So I am going to delete him out. Okay, Logan Stanley. I am going to start. Really had piss poor expectations for this guy. And I think he was fine in the regular season. Better than I expected. Playoffs was pretty much as advertised, just too slow. And, I mean, he was playing hurt. I gave him a B.
I agree with everything. Regular season-wise, yeah, he was fine. I think he entered the playoffs at like a 50 expected goals share. But then like you got like the Boston series, him and Timmins were operating at like 43%.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it was bad.
I went C plus. I think Lindy Ruff got the best he could out of Logan Stanley. But it just is what it is. It was a failure of a pickup. You know, we were not happy with it on the night it happened. I don't think it went nearly as bad as we thought it would, but it just, you know, he was scratched the last however many games once again because of injury, but he wasn't a factor for them when they needed him to. So I got C plus.
I think my expectation of him kind of works against him in his grade here because not that I thought like I wouldn't put piss poor for me. I thought he at least was going to play a role on this team and he was kind of gonna, you know,
Score a goal.
Oh man, what a time!
We
If
did
he
need
scored
a
goal.
Logan Stanley
Dude.
bomb. We needed one.
If he scored a goal in the playoffs, that would have been crazy. But listen, there was a role I expected him to play, and it was to be that third pair role, maybe shut it down a little bit. When he first stepped on the ice with this team, you could tell, man, it's like he was playing Winnipeg. It's like, my goodness, like, he's got to get on the treadmill or something to pick up some speed. But he grew into his role, and then, but I don't know. I think for me, I did expect more in the playoffs, especially with Timmins. I mean, not to say that I had expectations for them to play well together, just him in general. Him playing with Timmins really hurt him, and that's on both of them. But I gave him a C.
I'm actually going to lower my grade by 1 to B minus, not because of what you guys said at all, because at the very least, you're expecting some sort of physical presence, and he brought zero. He brought zero. You at least kind of expected that, knowing
He brought
that was the
little
reason.
bit, but not on the ice.
Yeah.
In play.
So I'll stick with B minus. So he averages out to a C plus. Next up, talked about him a lot in the beginning of the episode. Konsta Helenius.
It's a tough one to grade because I am not taking the Amherst season into account. I'm trying not to. In the time he was up though, it's like, man, like I still think he was so good for them in his first stint. Sure, the points didn't come immediately, but the numbers were there. He had the crazy game against Nashville, and then coming in a not easy situation in the playoffs. So I thought about this. Was he their best player those last 3 games? That includes the game. Remember, the Game 5 stinker, too.
No, I thought Zach Benson was their best player.
I think the last 3 games, I think Helenius was their best player. Or last
I'd say
4
Dahlin
games.
or Power. If you're saying forward, I might agree with you, but
Best forward. That's fair. I think Power was probably their best player the last 2 games.
Yeah. Best forward, I would still say I might agree with Christian. It might have been Benson.
I think he was better. I don't know. It's to each their own.
Either way,
like he was so good. He was so good. I gave him an A. It's an abbreviated A, but it's I think if maybe I'll just say I'll take the Amherst season into account. He had the 7th best points per game by a 19-year-old ever in that league, and he should have been playing on this team from January onwards. I'll give him an A. He was great. Golden goal too.
Yeah. Golden goal. When he joined the team, I just expected him to, take the normal path a prospect getting his call up was, playing like here and there, a few minutes, whatever else. But man, he really found a role and he really just ran with it. So that's kind of why I gave him that A. He's just fantastic. Fantastic player. May have really found a gem here. Good job trading back Kevin Adams. We didn't need Zeev Bouillon.
Thank you, Daniel Briere, for taking Jet Luchenko.
He might be the biggest reason why we got to
Remember
game
he was
6
almost
and
traded
game 7.
for Brian Rust. Remember when that was a thing?
Oh.
Could you imagine? Imagine?
Oh my God.
That was a thing. That was a thing.
It would have been bad.
A lot changes in a year.
I think genuinely, if Kevin Adams does not get that ghost extension, he might have made that deal. If this was the last year of his contract and he was in desperation mode, he might have just said, F it. Thank God he didn't. Thank you for extending him.
Yeah.
All right, A's are on the board for him. Josh Dunne. I think this is similar to what I said in my midseason. Had no expectations for him, and I think he's a solid 13th, 14th forward. I gave him an A.
I gave him a B+.
I gave him a B. I didn't see him too much, but I feel like when he was on the ice, I thought he was the physical presence the fourth line needed. So thought he just met expectations. Didn't produce in the point column much, but it is what it is.
B+ for him. Last player we got, and I will just say we had a games play
Cut off.
threshold of 6 games. So that means Geertsen, Danforth, Ryan Johnson, Kuntar, and Tanner Pearson will
And Luke
all
Shen.
not be getting grades. And Luke Shen, yes. Luke Shen will not be getting grades. Michael Kesselring.
I'll start it. I think when you if this is an expectations conversation, you walked into this season thinking he was going to be a top 4 defenseman for this team. He was one of the RFAs you were scared about signing this year because you didn't know it could be big money, big right-hand defenseman. You thought he was going to be a huge factor on this team's success. He was a healthy scratch the last month or so of the season. Played 4 minutes of playoff time. It's hard to categorize this for me as anything less than an F. And I understand a lot of it's not his, there were injuries. The underlying numbers weren't even bad, but I think when you're just talking about perception, this is a guy who is, if he wasn't a part of the Peterka trade, if he was just player X, he'd be the most automatic trade ever. It's enough. It's unfortunate. I still want them to keep him. And he wasn't a huge detriment when he played. It's hard to describe the drop off that he really had.
Yeah, me too. The injuries throughout the whole season, being scratched, according to expectation, he was supposed to be the fourth defenseman on the 4th/5th defenseman on this team. And yeah, it was just really unfortunate year for him. So F.
I'll let the average go out to an F, but I'm giving him a D- because I kind of think it's hard to say he was done dirty. He had no room in the top 4 with how good Byram and Samuelsson emerged, but I don't think he was bad enough to where he shouldn't have played as much as he didn't play. I don't think Ruff trusts him. So I'm going to give him a D-, but he averages out to an F. Okay, that's all the players. On to the goalies. First up, Alex Lyon.
As someone who, I remember the day they signed him, I said to myself, I'm like, given what they did to James Reimer and how he was waived at one point for Devin Levi, I was like, maybe he won't even be on the team. That was still dumb, but it was mostly just looking at recent history. Brutal end to the playoffs for him. I don't think this has ever been. I think that might be the most viscerally mad I've ever been at a goaltender than when he let in that 3rd goal on Jake Evans. So it sucks that that's the end of it for him because this was a fantastic season for him. He exceeded all my expectations. I'm trying to decide, do I want to do A or A+? But you know what? In the biggest moment when the team needed him, he did falter. So I'll go with an A.
Yeah. 10 wins in a row. Didn't he break a franchise record for wins in a row this season? He was fantastic all year. And this is the same scenario I was wrestling with too, Jonah. Just when for all the goalies too, when the playoffs showed up, I mean, aside from Ellis, they were nowhere to be found. And I don't want that, again, biggest moments, but I don't want that to be really the big story of the season for Alex Lyon because he had so many good moments. So I'm gonna stick with an A. I'm gonna stick with an A.
We got A's all around. Echo everything you guys said. I also do want to point out, I think it's hilarious that he's the reason that the player of the game sword got taken away.
Knock him down another letter grade.
All right, next up, UPL. I'll just say I'm sticking with the same grade with an A. Pretty much all the same stuff I'll say is Lyon. Great season, inconsistent in the playoffs.
Yeah, same here. I think I'm still like, because like expectations were clearly different for these players, so I'm still trying to like. I think I'll go A minus, just because it's, this is the guy you still thought was going to be the starting goaltender, and he still was to an extent. He only got kind of lapped because Lyon was playing out of his mind. But
UPL was hurt to start the year, and Lyon played so good at the beginning of the year.
I mean, there were ebbs and flows, so I'll go A minus. But the quality of goaltending they played were about the same.
You guys have known my opinions on UPL over the years. You know where my expectations kind of sit with him being a volatile goalie, but at the beginning of the season, they said it's like, this is going to be the starting goalie. Lindy Ruff, this is going back a little bit, but no, I was about to say going back a little bit. Lindy Ruff, it's like, who's your starting goalie? UPL, and that was the case going into this season. And I thought he had a good year. I did think he had a good year, but more inconsistencies. More inconsistencies in his game, and in the playoffs, he was terrible. So I gave him a B+.
Why? All right.
It's a really tough.
Was he terrible?
Numbers wise, it will show as terrible when you look back at it.
Goalies were terrible in the playoffs. Let me rephrase.
Second, well, okay.
It's so tough.
Alex Lyon had a 955 in the first round of the.
Yeah,
it's so tough because he was like
just inconsistent.
Yeah, it's inconsistent. Just it really is.
Both had great games. Both had bad games.
Yeah, agreed. Maybe I should go B. I'll go B+. Christian convinced me.
Okay.
He wore me down.
I'm sticking with where I was. That averages him out to an A-.
That's fair.
Colton Ellis, last player to talk about.
I think, given the AHL stats, and I think, there was for expectations. I did not expect him to be as entertaining yet horrifying of a watch.
Get used to it.
I think the results were like, I guess, typically what I expected. He's a guy. He is a goalie. I went with a B.
That's what I gave him too. I gave him a B. Crazy goaltender, crazy style of play, but he didn't really kill you this year, but he didn't really raise you up. So I gave him a B.
I gave him a B+. I think he at the very least gave the organization a reason to keep him the entire year, which I don't think any of us would have expected. Okay, on to Sabres staff. First up, head coach Lindy Ruff.
Coaching's weird because I think we're going to look at the results, and I think everybody's going to immediately say A+, and he's damn near right close to it for me. I mean, just everything he did in terms of just the way this team plays, making their top four, their strength of he had the same top four last year, and it is a night and day to what it was this year. Obviously, Samuelsson and Byram, their improvements are a big part of that, but he gets some credit for that. The way that they became a lot more defensively responsible, holding leads. They were the worst team in hockey at holding leads last year. This year, they were one of the best. And I think overall, you look at the development of a lot of players. Östlund, obviously a player he came to appreciate very quickly. Doan, first full season, he was fantastic. Benson steps, although honestly, Benson probably would thrive under anybody. But like Peyton Krebs, that was a player he took a liking to, and he was rewarded for it. So there's a lot that you have to love about Lindy Ruff's season. And even though it took longer than I think it needed to, putting Helenius in that spot that was still a big decision, and that worked out. And then, switching up, adjusting too late. Sure, you could take points away from that, but he also did adjust and it nearly won them the series. I think it was a great year. I just think it had a few, minor dark spots. I think the Kesselring handling for me was very questionable. I think you have to put blame on him for certain things like the power play. I think he takes a share of blame for that. Even the penalty kill, like it was great in the regular season, but you could tell they were operating on shaky ground. So, and it was kind of exposed in the Montreal series. So I went with an A. I could see why maybe that's crazy to some people. I could see why it's an easy A+ for everybody. I just think, there's things that he did. Like every coach has things that they would do that you wouldn't do. I do think the Kesselring handling for me is worse. And I do think some things at times, Luke, I guess Luke Shen only played like 4 or so games, but like I didn't even mention Timmins. That's a player he took a liking to, and I think that's a poor choice. Greenway, you could argue as well. I don't know. I like I said, even despite all that, you won't find a coach that doesn't have tendencies that you don't dislike. But I'll go A.
I agree. Everything you said. And the main reason I'm not giving an A+ is I do think he was too slow to react in the playoffs. It's not like the reason we lost, but I do think if he reacted quicker, we might have gotten to the next round. Especially with the top line. I mean, that was kind of ridiculous.
The coach that broke the drought, they won a division title. Just multiple players had some of their best seasons this year. I mean, there's not much else to say other than, man, I really wish he did jumble up the top 2 lines in that second round series. And I also had him at an A.
All right.
All right. A's all around. Coaching staff next. I think the defensive game of the team really did turn around. You got to give him credit for a lot of what Jonas said about holding leads. I mean, they're a big factor. Even, Mike Bales with the goalies, with how good they were this year.
Bring up the goalie coach. Yep.
So I give them all credit. I'm going with an A- though, because special teams is still an issue, and the coaching staff just can't seem to figure it out. Even if they were league average in the power play, it certainly doesn't look like a league average power play.
Yeah, I went with a B+. I think, I think we've talked. I think to an extent, it's like, man, you talk about Seth Appert once a week the entire season. Maybe it should drag the grade down a bit, and I guess it kind of does. But even then, it's still like this is the evil thing. Like their power play and even penalty kill, despite how shaky I think the foundation is, it still performed. They were top 5 in penalty kill, 16th in power play. The power play was figuring things out in the Montreal series all of a sudden. So I went with a B+. I think there's still things I have questions about, but it's hard to argue with the results.
I went with a B-, and the reason I went with a B- is because going into this year, this whole special teams argument, this was a big sticking point, not only this year, but last year. And I really thought
last year.
Really thought that this was going to be the year where they just, actually had a watchable power play. I know it's middle of the pack, but it's unethical. It was an unethical power play. I thought the penalty kill was operating at a...
How have we not used that once, an unethical power play? I love that. That's incredible. How did we just come up with that?
I thought that the penalty kill was operating at a point where it was just on... What's the word I'm trying to find? Above expectation or above what it should have been for a long time. I will give a lot of credit to the goalie coach because I know we did dump on him the past few years, and the goalies were great during the regular season this year, and I know the goalies really love him too. So I give him a lot of credit. But I mean, I was hoping to see more, especially out of the special teams unit, and I guess I could lump Lindy Ruff into that a little bit too. But let's go with a B-.
Coaching staff comes out to a B+. Last one, Jarmo Kekalainen.
It's weird, man. We could. What are we really grading him off here? Is it just the deadline, basically?
Pretty much.
If
The
it's
trades
off
he
the
did or
dead-
didn't make.
Well,
If it's
there
off
is
the
one more
deadline, it's a
thing.
B
Call
minus.
up.
There is one more thing that you are forgetting about, and maybe even JP's forgetting about. That Josh Doan extension is spectacular. It's an
Yeah. Good
point.
unbelievable contract that he signed pretty quickly into his time here. I think, that's the best move he's done this season. And listen, the Carrick move would have been, it was a great success. It helped them win games this year. I mean, that goal scoring stretch he had won them multiple games. Those were his two best, moves, decisions this year, despite how I do still dislike the Parayko move overall had it happened. It would have helped this team so much, and I don't hate the trade return for it. It just, that just comes down to what do you think of Mertka, and I think it would have been an okay thing to surrender. So I know it's a hypothetical. I know it's a move that didn't get made, but it was made, and it just wasn't his fault that it didn't get done. And there's that. On the other hand, the Logan Stanley, the Luke Schenn trade was bad. I think even just the opportunity cost of that, like the fact that was your only defensive upgrades, like maybe you could have chased after something else on top of that. That wasn't good enough. But I think overall, long term he has set them up well with the Doan contract. And even I think you can somewhat categorize Carrick as long term, given he had a 2-year contract. So that sets them up well as well. I went with a B+. And like you said, calling up Helenius, he did not have to do that. Like Rosane was still on the team back then. That was a big call up, obviously making him a black ace. It was inevitable, but it was something he did. Bringing up Östlund right away when he first got here. So I think it was still... So I think people are tough on him. I do. I think the Stanley trade, that was bad. But I think overall thus far, I think he's been a 250 hitter.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Doan thing because I did forget about that. So, I mean, if I'm gonna combine the deadline, which I'd put at like a C, and the Josh Doan extension, which I'd put at an A, kind of just meets in the middle and it averages out to a B. That's what I gave him. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but at the same time, he's new to the chair, and this off season could really you could blow me out of the water, really.
I was really debating between a B+ and an A-, but I'm going to go with an A-. I think a lot of what Jonas said, he had the Parayko deal done, but his pivot sucked. But the Carrick deal was great. He didn't obviously the Stanley deal was bad, but he didn't over pursue anybody in the trade deadline. He didn't make any other stupid trades that are going to cost you for years to come. He went after Robert Thomas hard. And I think you do have to factor that in, at least to the fact that he knew we needed to upgrade there and we needed another top 6 forward. Kept the young guys up. I'm going to give him an A-. I'm excited for this offseason. A little also cautiously nervous because I don't know what he's going to do.
A little scared. Just a little, got a trigger finger a little bit.
He could go any which way, but I think he's done a good job so far. And I mean, they start winning when he gets brought in office. His speech was insane. His speech must have been insane.
Generational speech to the fellas.
Okay, he averages out to a B+ then. We did want to do one more fun one.
We have one fun. I think you have to. I don't even think it's fun. I think you got to do one now.
Yeah.
Technically meets the game threshold.
He does. He
does.
does.
But other players do, but they were traded. But this, I guess he's technically still under contract, right?
There you go.
He's still...
He did sign an extension. There you go.
All right. Kevin Adams.
I do think this is a really interesting conversation. I do. I think it's very interesting to look back on what he did for this team this season, and it's it's going to be interesting to watch. When the GM of the Year votes come out, did somebody toss him one? In retrospect, the Peterka trade, phenomenal work by him, getting Josh Doan, Kesselring. Just in theory, should still get. It should have done better. I don't think that's his fault.
Unfortunately, that's not this season.
No, but it is what it is, I guess. I guess you can weigh that against them, but whatever. The Doan pickup was fantastic. Alex Lyon was maybe pound for pound, dollar amount to actual performance, maybe the best signing of the offseason. That was great.
Kept Byram, kept Sammy.
He did. I think that these are things, these are very positive. Those were positive moves for him. I'm trying to think what else.
Timmins.
I was trying to think of positives first before we got into the negatives.
Well, I was doing any, yeah.
It was, obviously to this point, it was now a very underrated offseason. And I still, we said it in the summer. I think we put out a clip. It was even if it works out, it's still bad process, good results. I still do believe that. I do believe in that a little bit. But either way, you got the good results. That being said, there are things overall that there are still negatives. As much as we like to joke that, yeah, it was actually a good ending to it all. Listen, he got fired because, first of all, Noah Östlund was not on the roster the day he was fired.
Yeah.
That was because of a goalie situation he created himself by claiming Colton Ellis, who, by the way, Alex Lyon, who we gave an A grade to, when Adams was fired, Lyon had just played his first 2 games. One game was in relief. The other one he started. It was his first game in 3 weeks. He was at the back of that goaltending rotation that Kevin Adams created. On top of that, the Timmins acquisition, trading a second-round pick to get out of Connor Clifton and then bringing in a worse Connor Clifton, that was bad. Extending Greenway last year, I don't know if you want to count that. I feel like I kind of do because it's a move for this year, though. I think I'm counting it because it's a move for this year. That was a bad decision. Like we mentioned earlier, he only played 30 games last year. So, what happened this year was not totally out of the realm of possibility. There are bad things. And for me, it all averages out. I gave him a B. I gave him a B. Is that bad? I thought it was
I'm
fair.
more laughing at my grade.
What's your grade, JP?
I didn't really look at it as just this year. Well, kind of. But I'm kind of looking at it in the way of how Kevin Adams set us up for the future. We're talking about Konsta so much. Noah Östlund.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because I forgot to mention there's 2 things that I hold against him. Or I shouldn't say, there's one thing I really hold against him that we talked about in our one group chat today. And the other thing, listen, the biggest failure this offseason, he did not get Alex Tuch signed. This whole thing is going on right now. Could have been resolved. He definitely, by reports, probably could have had him at $9 million, which I still would not have signed, but it's much more reasonable than what he's likely going to get. And on top of that, he didn't extend Zach Benson. And I will forever hold, I think Benson's going to get in the $7 million range. You look at the conference finals that 2 Carolina Hurricanes are having, Logan Stanley, Jackson Blake. You look at those contracts as comparables to Benson. There's a good chance the Sabres could have had Benson for the next 8 years at under $6 million. And I just find that very unacceptable. He did not chase after that immediately. So add that in there. I'm not changing my grade. I'll still put it as B, maybe C or C plus, B minus. You can go any which way. I don't think it was an A. I don't think it was an F. I think for me, I'm trying to keep a level head. JP, you got a devilish smile on your face. What did you give him?
For the memes, he built this team, and he did set us up really good for the future. Like I said, Konsta Helenius.
We're talking. We're
Benson,
not grading his
Doan.
tenure. We're not grading his tenure.
I don't care.
Not grading his tenure.
I'm doing it. I'm giving him an A.
Oh
This was
my
his team. Look where we got.
No.
I can't.
Look where we got.
I can't give him an A. Not in good faith.
I gave him a C plus. Just
I think that's much
it was
more
just
fair.
more nonsense coming into the season, and I know our expectation. If I have to grade my expectation on a B, it wasn't very high, but it was just again, it's like you're in year 5 of this, dude. It's like my expectation of you is going to continue to rise as you have tenure on this in this organization.
Couldn't you argue to
You're
go
in
the other
year
way?
5. This playoff drop's extended, and it was just more nonsense throughout the beginning of the season. The season with the whole Östlund thing, just Lindy Ruff clearly pissed off at him in the situation that they were in. Just claiming Colton Ellis, glad he's in the organization, but just you created that mess. Some of the off-season moves, some were good. I guess the Paterka deal at the time we thought was terrible turned out to be okay. And the Greenway signing, like all the off-season moves that Jonah mentioned, it doesn't really move the needle for me. If we're going off of the season, it's a C plus. And he got fired, so I clearly not vibing in the organization.
I agree with everything you guys have said. He was deservingly fired at the time. Obviously, hindsight's 2020.
I think that's
this
the
was
thing.
his
You
team,
know, like
and his
you're giving
team
him
brought
an
it
A.
to where we are.
You're giving him
I'm
an
not
A,
looking
and it's
back
like
on this with rose-tinted lenses.
Yeah, well,
you know where we were at
it's kind of
last
like
year, dude.
It's
It
kind
was
of
bad.
It's kind of like anybody that maybe is saying to themselves like, "Oh, he should have gotten an A or an A plus." So it's like, do you think he shouldn't have been fired then? Because I think the answer is
Right.
still very much yes. And I think it's hard to quantify this, but the team did have a historic season the moment he left. The moment there was rumors of him being
For
fired,
sure.
they suddenly turn into the 70s Habs. So
For sure. This was his team, though. It wasn't Yarmos.
Well, when it was his team, it sucked. And as soon as they fired him, they started playing well.
Very true. Very true. All right. With all of our grades being all over the place, he averages out to a B.
I can live with that. I can live with that. I can live with that.
All right, fine.
I can live with that.
All right, no, I'm changing my grade to an F. We're moving this average down.
F would bring him to a C plus, but no, you're sticking with your C plus. Okay. 2 hours, 15 minutes in. I will go through all the grades we gave everybody now, an average of the 3 of us. Once again, based off our expectations. Tage Thompson, B minus. Rasmus Dahlin, A. Alex Tuch, B minus. Ryan McLeod, B plus. Josh Doan, A plus. Jack Quinn, A minus. Jason Zucker, B. Zach Benson, A. Bowen Byram, A. Mattias Samuelsson, A plus. Peyton Krebs, A minus. Josh Norris, C. Owen Power, B plus. Noah Östlund, A. Beck Malenstyn, B. Conor Timmins, C minus. Tyson Kozak, B minus. Sam Carrick, A minus. Zach Metza, A minus. Jordan Greenway, D minus. Logan Stanley, C plus. Konsta Helenius, A. Josh Doan, B plus. Michael Kesselring, F. Alex Lyon, A. UPL, A minus. Colton Ellis, B. Lindy Ruff, A. Coaching staff, B plus. Jarmo Kekalainen, B plus. Kevin Adams, B.
All right. Nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts? Only thing I guess I want to bring up was Jake Richard signing his ELC. That's a surprise. I think he had said he was going back to UConn. So clearly something changed there. He signs a 2-year deal with the Sabres. Should be I do think he is like one of the gems in the prospect pool. I think this guy could be an NHL player. So I'm really excited to see how he works out in Rochester. So very cool that they got that done. Any other closing thoughts?
It was a great season, and hopefully we have higher player grade every single year. Hopefully the player grades continue to trend.
You know, it would
up.
be a fun exercise if we averaged every grade just year over year. Like, was this the highest average grade?
It has to have been.
Had to
Well,
have been.
actually, no, because we do this off of expectation. So
That's what I'm saying.
There's really not a. I don't know.
I'd
There
be
might
inter-
not
I would-
be a there might not be a fair way of doing this.
I would be interested to see that. But, yep. Until next time.
Well, I have a closing question. Now that we got our player grades done, is there nothing to talk about really until like the Stanley Cup's over? I mean, Stanley Cup.
You're right.
could
Let's
end
take a
latest
break.
date.
Let's go dark. Not talk to people. Let's not make content for the next month.
I'm just saying, June 17th is when the last possible game will be.
There are things to talk about. We'll can get into trade targets if we want. Free
True.
agency, kind of crapshoot. Not a lot of good names, but there's things. I don't know.
Well, at the very least, I think this is the last thing that we are going to talk about this past season, right? I mean, this is pretty much putting a wrap on our in general thoughts on this past season.
Next episode, why
just about.
don't we rank every single game? 80 from 80 or what, 90?
God
How many
help
how many
us.
games did we play? 13 in the
95.
playoffs. So 95. Let's rank every game from 95 to number 1.
Add in the post preseason.
Yeah,
Do
preseason
100
games.
plus games. Hey,
Let's just do the
Next
prospect
episode
tourney
will-
too. Throw the Olympic games in there.
that's yeah.
Every Olympic game also with a Sabre in it.
Next episode's like our official start to next season, pretty much.
Yeah. Should be fun. But until that point, we're going to shut things down here. Folks, thanks for listening. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at the Sabre Report on Twitter, also on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at the Sabre Report. If you listen to this on YouTube, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us what you thought down in the comments below. What were your player grades? Which ones do you think we are wholly wrong on? What did you think about our Konsta Helenius conversation at the start? We'd love to hear your input. That goes for Spotify as well. Be sure to leave a comment. If you want updates for the pod, you can follow us at Sabre Report Pod. Go give our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast a listen. They do great coverage of, even now, they do the Sabres too, on top of mostly doing Bills content. So they do great stuff over there. Be sure to give them a listen. We also want to take this second to thank our patrons. Once again, that's patreon.com/Sabre Report. We want to thank our Nuggets tier patrons and our Tendies tier patrons, in particular, Derek Bistricki, Zach Benson, Grant Budney, Tage Slug, Nick Santos, Nathan Little, and Tim Z. Your support is very much appreciated. Could not do this without you guys. Thanks once again. All right. Any final thoughts? All right. We will see you guys next time. Take care. And as always, go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
Go Sabres.